Although ASAP Rocky might be the first name that you think of when you hear ASAP Mob, the name you should really think of is ASAP Yams. And no, I'm not talking about some kind of sweet potato delivery service. I'm talking about the visionary behind the meteoric rise and formation of this legendary rap crew. Yams is actually the one who dreamed up the ASAP moniker, which would of course be forever immortalized in every member of the crew's names, with them collectively being known as ASAP Mob and their label being known as ASAP Worldwide. Now, ASAP stands for a number of things. Mainly, always strive and prosper, an acronym which Mob member ASAP Ferg would immortalize forever in the name of one of his albums. However, there are many other explanations of what the ASAP in ASAP Mob actually means. And in fact, there's apparently so many different versions of what ASAP stands for. According to Yams, Rocky once said that ASAP could stand for anything, so it might as well stand for acronym symbolizing any purpose. An explanation which ASAP Yams himself described as gay as hell. His words, not mine. Many people don't know the real history of the crew, much beyond the fact that Yams was indeed the visionary that was pushing it forward. Harlem, 2006, and a young ASAP Yams is trying to break his way into the rap game. And he does catch a break. He manages to land himself an internship with Duke the God of Diplomat Records and none other than the super violator himself, Jim Jones. This was a life-changing opportunity that would give ASAP Yams the chance to rub shoulders with rap game royalty at an early age.
My first experience in the music industry is dealing with Jim Jones, being around him every day. You know what I mean? Like, he taught me everything I needed to know. I'll just stay around him and completely observe the whole scenery, and I took Jim Jones' aesthetic and applied it to myself to the point that I used to be at record label meetings and be like, damn, you know what? You remind me of Jim Jones and shit.
Yes, Yams was all up in the Dipset offices looking like a Jim Jones tribute act. But don't get me wrong, I assume that the gig interning for Jim Jones was no cakewalk. I assume his many duties included disposing of one of Jim's many Dutch guts, sweeping the office for wiretaps, and separating his laundry into blood and everyday wear. Anyway, at this point, Yams truly had his feet under the table. In fact, he was even spotted in this area appearing in the background of a vlog with the wave god himself, Max B, flashing the cash. Apparently, through his passion and these experiences, during these years, ASAP Yams would become the ultimate hip-hop knowledge geek, who according to fellow member ASAP Bari would sit at the computer for hours studying the rap game and its history, which to me is crazy to hear because it feels like me and ASAP Yams would actually have a lot in common. And much like what I do, ASAP Yams would eventually find a way of parlaying his ocean-deep knowledge of hip-hop into internet clout, eventually becoming prolific for running a hip-hop themed Tumblr account called Real N-Word Tumblr. And going under the pseudonym Eastside Steve, Yams would post up swaggy throwback hip-hop shit to his blog, putting the new generation of late noughties rap fans onto rare hip-hop game from years gone by that they probably missed out on. Throwing up cool rare pictures like this one of Plies rocking a bust-down, fitted cap chain, a pic of Max B holding his pet hamster, or these shots of highly questionable throwback R. Kelly and Aaliyah merch. Honestly, there's literally so much cool throwback hip-hop content on Yams' Tumblr that I could probably make about 100 videos of it and change my channel name to Traplaw Yams. But anyway, looking back at his time on Tumblr, Yams himself said he had a plan from the very beginning, knowing that eventually he would be able to leverage this hip-hop cultural clout into something much bigger. But it would take quite some time for the perfect opportunity to come along. So meanwhile, behind the scenes, Yams would network hard in the hoods of Harlem, looking for allies to join his quest to build a hip-hop empire. So it's around 2006 that ASAP Yams forms the ASAP Collective with fellow founder member ASAP Bari. At the time, Bari was a bit of a budding fashionista who Yams would describe as literally risking his life walking up and down the hood in skinny jeans, frequently getting beaten up by thugs on the block for dressing too wavy. Funny now he gets beaten up for different reasons. Anyway, Bari and Yams bonded over fashion, apparently spending a lot of their spare time in 2004 and 2005 running around the city looking for rare bathing ape clothes. And they were clicked up along with the third co-founder member of ASAP, ASAP Ills, who would act as the model for these budding trendsetters' new fashion fits. God, he's good looking, isn't he? Pause. But anyway, being the master networkers that they were, the ASAP mob would continue to grow slowly but surely over the years that followed, adding new members and evolving from a trio of fashion-focused trendsetters to a fully blown collective of pretty mother effers from all different kinds of creative disciplines. Rappers, producers, music video directors, fashion designers, and even bikers apparently. Hell, I once ate 2 large Papa John's pizzas in less than 1 hour in a single sitting. Do you think I could join the ASAP mob? Yams, come on. Some of the most prominent members who ended up joining around this time include the likes of ASAP Ferg, a bona fide trap lord who would fit right into the crew from the start with interests in both fashion and rapping. In fact, ASAP Ferg's father famously had a printing business, with his pops apparently being responsible for designing the original Bad Boy logo for P. Diddy, with Ferg even going as far to say as that he thinks he is the baby from that bad boy logo. Crazy. You had ASAP and another rapper with a fashion connection, who actually in the early days had his own clothing line called Merino Infantry, which apparently Rocky was messing with heavily in the early stages of the mob's recruitment. You've got the amazing story of ASAP Lou, or Lou Banger, who actually became ASAP Rocky's assistant after being pulled out of the crowd at a show because he was wilding out so hard they decided to bring him on the team.
Like, Lou was around at the early stages.
Yo, shout out to homie right here, y'all. Fuck with you. Can he come on stage and rap with us real quick?
After a while, he just became one of everybody. Like, he was always so helpful and shit. Like, if niggas ever needed him, he was there.
You got ASAP Nast, Lacoste enthusiast, and fellow rapper who is actually ASAP Rocky's cousin. There's ASAP P on the boards, but don't let it fool you. Piss-stained samplers aside, this team producer has made beats for some of the biggest tracks in the mob's catalogue, like their big early posse cut Bath Salts. There's ASAP Relly, a lower profile, but more fashion-focused member of the crew, who went on to model for Rick Owens and other big-name brands. We got ASAP 12 another rapping member, who apparently got his name after growing up around a whole bunch of blood members. They would apparently use the phrase 212 to refer to conversating, and being a master networker who seemed to be cool with the Bloods without actually being a member, he began going by the nickname 12 and eventually ASAP 12. We got ASAP Ty Beats, another team beatmaker responsible for classic ASAP hits like Rocky's big breakout tune Peso. Ty Beats, not to be confused with ASAP Ty Y, who originally got noticed by the mob as a biker rather than a rapper, with Ty Y being a big name in the streets of Harlem, mostly being the result of his frankly terrifying bike life movement, as well as other later rap projects. Tell you what, my mum would not let me hang out with those bike life dudes. ASAP Ty Y is out here trying to break every bone in his body ASAP. Now, there are many other names that have been associated or affiliated with the ASAP mob. ASAP Puffs, ASAP Jelino, ASAP Josh, ASAP Lotto, ASAP Frumps, ASAP Stinks. I made those last two up. But anyway, this video isn't going to be a where are they now like I did for my Old Odd Future video. I'm not necessarily interested in what every single ASAP member got up to during their career, especially considering the fact that a lot of them are more focused on fashion and music. And as you may have been able to tell from watching some of my videos, not the biggest fashionista. So with that in mind, this video is going to be a clear rise and fall, focusing mainly on the core members of ASAP that had musical success. And I'm sure at this point you may have very well noticed I've missed out one very big and obvious name so far, ASAP Rocky, aka ASAP Meal Ticket, the star member who oozed so much sauce and confidence that within only a few years of publicly pushing his music would become one of the hottest commodities the rap game had ever seen, attracting 7-figure checks for the mob and its members. Rocky and his cousin ASAP Nast grew up dabbling in the streets. But when Rocky was around 13 years old, his brother was tragically killed in Harlem, leading a young Rocky to the realization that he should take the rap game far more seriously than his prospects in the streets. And so eventually in 2007, Rocky would join the ASAP mob when he was around 19 years old, apparently meeting ASAP Yams through ASAP Bari. Anywho, after years of rapping, experimenting, and trying to find his sound, it was in July 2011 that Rocky would burst onto the rap scene with his big introductory song, Purple Swag. It's the perfect song to start with, and it really set the tone for ASAP Rocky and the rest of the mob going forward. The Texas chopped and screwed sound, with the image of a bunch of lean drinking fashionistas, led to this song and this crew quickly becoming a staple of New York street culture. The momentum behind this song spurred Rocky and the mob to create a music video for Purple Swag, which itself quickly picked up steam. The video featured ASAP mob members extensively and was followed up in August 2011 by ASAP Rocky's breakout hit song, Peso. This was an absolute smash and essentially the song that catapulted Rocky to the mainstream. In fact, a lot of Rocky's success around this point can be directly attributed to ASAP Yams. Because let's not forget that his Tumblr blog was absolutely popping. And as I said before, he always had a vision of something bigger, and now was the time to put it to work. So he would use that platform to extensively promote Rocky's music and his early shows. But he did this without it being immediately clear to the readers that Yams and Rocky were clicked up, with this apparently being ASAP Yams' plan all along.
What did you think, like, when you started your Tumblr? What was your expectations with that?
My Tumblr was all hustle. It was a marketing plan. I ain't no blogging ass motherfucker. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. I developed the plan. I'm like, let me start a fake blog that people don't know is ran by me and shit like that, and I'ma put Rocky on since none of these other bitch ass blogs wanna put me on.
So Peso blows up, and off the back of that, ASAP Rocky's name is ringing in the streets of the entire rap industry. Drake co-signed Rocky and invited him onto his Club Paradise tour.
You know, I'm trying to earn the right to call myself ASAP Drizzy one day.
Off the back of all of this momentum, Rocky dropped his debut mixtape, Live, Love, ASAP, at the end of October 2011. This tape was considered by many to be an instant classic. It was beyond its years in sound and tone, and you can throw on tracks from that thing now, and some of them sound like they could have been made in 2020. And while this project didn't end up hitting the charts, at this point the mainstream labels could tell that Rocky had that star power, and before you knew it, they were beating down his door trying to sign him to a deal. ASAP, sorry. So in the end, Rocky signs a $3 million deal with RCA distributed Polo Grounds Music. And apparently this $3 million deal includes money for his newly formed record label ASAP Worldwide, which he had started with ASAP Yams. They apparently co-owned this, and reportedly of that $3 million deal, $1.7 million was for Rocky's solo career, and $1.3 million was earmarked to fund their new company, ASAP Worldwide, who would develop ASAP Mob projects. With Yams himself expressing an ambition for this company to be the next Def Jam, and Yams himself taking a very hands-on approach to managing the output of the members. And since Rocky had already released one body of work prior to even signing this deal, the pressure was kind of off when it came to releasing music. The fans had a full-length project to chew on, and so Rocky and the Mob spent the next few months chasing the bag, performing in front of / fighting with their own fans. And eventually, when it came time to drop more music, ASAP Rocky stood to the side and let his team shine, with the big debut release from ASAP Worldwide being the ASAP Mob Posse album Lords Never Worry, dropping in August 2012. This was led by the single Bath Salt featuring Flatbush Zombies, and an ASAP Rocky directed music video. Unfortunately, this project got generally negative reviews, with Pitchfork giving it a pretty pitiful 4.9, with the reviewer doing a lot of what the audience were doing at the time and pointing to Ferg and Rocky as the real standout members of the crew, as well as dropping some shade on the Mob's poor selection of beats. But the most important thing about this project to me was the fact that it included a little song called Work, the soon-to-be huge breakout single for next in the line to the ASAP throne, ASAP Ferg. Now, we all know that Ferg's Work is a banger. I mean, who hasn't found themselves in a packed rave screaming at the top of their lungs, "Put in work! Put him in there!" In fact, it was actually around this time that Rocky seemed to perfectly predict the success of ASAP Ferg's future music career, speaking in the noisy documentary about him called Suddenly.
Ferg was in student mode for a year straight, and now it's his time to shine. Ferg is gonna be huge, mark my words, man.
The star power of Ferg was very quickly recognized, but not just by the fans or reviewers. And by January 2013, ASAP Ferg signs his own joint venture record deal with RCA Polo Grounds 2, quickly going on to drop a music video for Work, more importantly followed by the remix, which is huge. Coming along with verses from fellow ASAP member ASAP Rocky, bucket hat connoisseur Schoolboy Q, macaroni connoisseur French Montana, and poor investment connoisseur Trinidad James. And with all this momentum, that landed Work on the Billboard Top 100, admittedly dead last at 100. But he's still 1 for 1 on Billboard, baby, so that don't count for nothing. And Work even eventually went double platinum, so you know Ferg got that bag. Off the success of Work, Ferg announces his upcoming debut album Trap Lord, but not before Rocky's much anticipated debut studio album Long Live ASAP. This drops in January 2013, only days after Ferg signed his deal and dropped his Work video, and with all of these amazing ASAP Mob projects flying around in 2013, it was truly the Mob's year, as ASAP Rocky's debut album immediately debuts at #1 on Billboard, selling around 139,000 first week. Led by his initial single Goldie, which had been buzzing since mid-2012, more importantly, ASAP Rocky's debut album included his follow-up hit commercial single Fucking Problems, which featured Drake, 2 Chainz, and Kendrick Lamar of all people. Fucking Problems peaked at #8 on the Billboard charts and even got nominated for the Best Rap Song at the Grammys that year. The track eventually went 5 times platinum, but the Mob weren't done winning yet, oh no. Because fresh off the back of the success of the Work remix, in August 2013, ASAP Ferg finally dropped his Trap Lord album, which peaks at #9 on Billboard, selling around 32K first week. And from there, the Mob continued to dominate. On October 2013, an ASAP Mob lineup of Rocky, Ferg, Nas, 12E, and Ant do a cypher together at the BET Hip Hop Awards, but weirdly has been widely scrubbed from YouTube despite being absolute fire. And from here, ASAP Nas would use this momentum, dropping the song and music video for Trillmatic featuring Method Man, a track which was also produced by ASAP Ty Beats. Now, this is a much more boom bap old head style of rap than Rocky and Ferg's output, but in many ways, it's kind of a refreshing change, and good addition to an already diverse portfolio of different rap styles in the ASAP lineup. In fact, for a brief moment, it looked like ASAP Nas was destined for the same type of success that Rocky and Ferg would receive, but sadly his debut album never materialized. But to his credit, he did go on to do an iconic collaboration with British grime legend Skepta, the track Ladies Hit Squad, which is a UK favourite and well worth a listen if you Americans have not. For the record, Ladies Hit Squad is actually one of 5 ASAP Skepta link-ups, which are always fire. You got Praise the Lord with Rocky, It Ain't Safe with Bari, Ghost Ride with Rocky and Nast, and Put That On My Set with Rocky from the Cozy Tapes Volume 1. Go check them all out if you haven't. Hell, he might as well be ASAP Skepta at this point. So from here, Nast kind of faded into the background a little bit and begun to play his position. And from here on out, it seemed like the majority of The Shine would be going towards Rocky and Ferg. A debut group album called Lord, or L-O-R-D, was supposedly in the works around this time too, with several members dropping songs that were even touted to be on the project, including ASAP 12E's Escape, Glock Rivers, and the posse cut Hella Hoes that featured Rocky, Ferg, 12E, and Nast. But in September 2014, ASAP Yams said that that project has actually been shelved when asked about it on his blog. But if that was disappointing, fans and the mob themselves couldn't have possibly prepared themselves for the enormous tragedy that lurked around the corner. In January 2015, ASAP Rocky and several other people were hanging out at a crib belonging to ASAP Yams and ASAP Lou. At a certain point, Lou approached Rocky to say that he couldn't wake ASAP Yams up, and when they went into his room to turn him over, they immediately knew the worst. Unfortunately, ASAP Yams had passed away long before his time at the age of 26, leaving the mob, its members, the hip-hop and music community at large absolutely devastated. Initially, it was unclear exactly what had caused Yams' passing, with Rocky initially denying that Yams' passing had had anything to do with drugs, telling fans that what had happened was the result of Yams' sleep apnea, which had caused asphyxiation and pulmonary aspiration. Rocky had said that this was something that Yams had struggled with in the past. However, the medical examination would eventually record his death as accidental acute mixed drug intoxication, the result of a mixture of benzodiazepines and opioids. Unfortunately to some, this wasn't a surprise, because Yams was infamous for his drug taking, even going as far as to have a subgroup for him and his buddies that he would get lit with called the Blackout Boys. In fact, their Blackout Boys hoodie that they were selling at one point has gone on to become an incredibly rare grail for streetwear hunters all over the world. In some ways, Yams was wearing his party lifestyle as a badge of pride. In fact, even in that earlier Suddenly documentary about Rocky's come up on Noisy, Yams was depicted as being in love with lean, regularly falling asleep off that drink so often that ASAP Lou and others would often be forced to try and wake him up using an air horn.
You got that purple stuff, you got that Henny stuff. Yeah. I'm about to be thrown for like 2 days.
We at the crib. Let's go.
Wake up, Yan. Man.
Motherfuckers get turned up so early, they don't know how to handle this shit. They start sleeping on shit.
Before his tragic passing, Yams for a brief period was seeking help for his addiction and spent time in rehab, elaborating on his experience there in August 2014 in a post from his blog, saying that his drug addiction had previously caused him to have seizures, and he had gotten to the point where he would need to take 8 Xanax bars just to feel anything. Ultimately saying that he was clean as of June the 26th, 2014, but sadly, as we now know, Yams was unable to stay clean and suffered the unfortunate fate that we see all too often in hip-hop these days. Just like we've seen with the likes of Lil Peep, Juice WRLD, Mac Miller, and so many others, talented artists with a lifetime of creative gifts to give, unfortunately not even making it to 30 as a direct result of addiction, often leaving a creative legacy littered with clues as to the destructive path they were on, but unfortunately it is sometimes just too late or not possible to prevent a tragedy like this from happening. Yams had taken his crew so far, from nothing to the very top, but in many ways in 2015 when he passed, it felt like things were really only just beginning. And really, we can only imagine just how far Yams would have taken himself and his crew had we not lost him so early. I think he really would have made ASAP Worldwide the new Def Jam, but it's at least comforting to know that during his lifetime, he got to see his creation, ASAP, go from an idea to a worldwide staple in hip-hop, and earning him the recognition and attention of the true GOATs in hip-hop history. Yams' legacy is proof that he was a true visionary, who had so many more gifts to give the music scene, but sadly, we will never get to see.